So today I thought it would be fun if we dipped back into Reddit and heard other people's opinions of what they found to be weird in America. One of my favourite things to do on this channel is to look at ways in which America is different from the culture that I grew up in Ireland, in Europe. And a lot of people get really offended when I say weird, but in my opinion, weird is good. It means unique, it means out of the ordinary, and it means interesting. Today I'm going to be looking at things that are weird about America that Americans don't realise are weird in other people's opinions, and I'm going to offer my insight into that. Maybe you will find it interesting, or maybe you will not. Before I get into the video, do be sure to subscribe, and I want to let you know about today's sponsor, which honestly, I could not have gotten through lockdown without. Today's video is sponsored by Function of Beauty. They create customizable hair shampoo and conditioning products for your hair type and hair goals, and they make it really easy. You just fill out a 2-minute quiz and poof, it's delivered straight to your door. You can get a subscription service too to suit your own schedule, and you can cancel or alter your formula whenever you like. If you ever want to truly put a hair product to the test, make it so you can't go to a salon for 4 months. You guys have been really nice about my hair in lockdown, so obviously it works. All you have to do is fill out a 2-minute quiz outlining your hair type, hair goals, and personalised preferences. You can choose the colour and the smell and even how strong you want the smell. This time I went for strong and it's really good. There are no parabens, no sulfates, no toxins, no GMOs, and it's vegan and cruelty free. Yes, Chewy, that's right, no wolf were harmed in the making of this shampoo. They also have loads of add-ons like leave-in conditioner and this hair serum, and oh my god, it's freaking magic. They put your name on the bottle, and there's a pump. I learned. Oh, it's dripping. All you need to do is click on my special link in the description box below to get 20% off your very first order and support a sponsor who supports this channel. On with the video. Okay, so the first thing that's come up, and this one is on the list a lot, it's that you aren't allowed to have alcohol before 21, but from 16 you can drive a 1.5 ton killing machine. Somebody looks at driving differently. I both get and don't get the logic behind the age thing. I get why it doesn't make sense to let you suddenly be allowed to drink and drive in the same year. That's kind of like asking for trouble, but at the same time it does strike me as a little strange that you can get behind the wheel of a car and potentially kill other people, whereas if you're drinking alcohol, I don't know, I just, as a European, I look at that as potentially less damaging. Statistically, you could argue otherwise. It is strange to me though that you're allowed to join the military and get married and all this kind of thing, but you're not allowed to have a beer at your own wedding. It's just a very different cultural attitude to alcohol. In Europe, we kind of would have wine with dinner younger, whereas in America I've found the attitude to alcohol to be much more severe. Honestly, still for me, when I go to America and I see a 16-year-old behind the wheel, I do find that very worrying.
Child, I'm 16 years old.
I would not have been of sound mind to drive a car at 16. I'm still not of sound mind to drive a car now, and so I don't, but maybe soon. So yeah, that contrast is definitely something that would strike me as weird. Next up, it's the only developed nation on earth with no mandatory vacation time or paid parental leave. Now, I didn't actually know this until I looked at this list. My whole life I've always worked independently in a freelance capacity, and so I've never availed of any benefits of working in an office or a company, so I haven't got much of a perspective on that. However, I have seen my friends who've started to have babies recently availing of some of the benefits of being able to get maternity leave that's paid. I had no idea in America you didn't have this, but I had heard that you don't get as much paid vacation. As I understand it, it's not a given, but some companies do it. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I've been binge watching Eeyore, and it's so strange to see them worrying as doctors and nurses about taking time off. I think in Ireland an employer has to give you 30 paid days off a year. It is interesting that they don't do that in America, and I wonder what the reasoning behind it is other than corporate greed.
It's about corporate greed destroying our heart.
Next it says, oh okay, this is an extreme word, the fetishization and commercialization of university sports, high school sports too, depending on where you are. For example, Texas football. This is something I definitely saw on TV and film growing up before I ever got to go to America, and it did strike me as strange. When I was in school, I'd be watching these TV shows where they'd have posters of people on the walls in schools, like in High School Musical, they had a big picture of Zac Efron, and I wasn't sure how accurate that was to real life. Then I went to Texas and I realized, okay, no, they do this here. Oh, Texas, take me back. It is quite strange though that adults get behind high school. Like, high school is children, it's children.
They're just kids, for God's sake.
People are really competitive with children. When I was growing up, my dad was a rugby coach for one of the top rugby schools in Ireland, and that was taken pretty seriously, but he definitely noticed as time went on we were progressing more towards this extreme competitiveness within schools, and that it was kind of changing the sport and the parents' attitudes toward it and stuff like that. But in no way are we on the level of Americans when it comes to our attitude to high school sports. It's sort of more seen as a hobby in school or something that will form your character as you grow up. Whereas in America, I understand people can get scholarships to college and stuff like that, so that's probably why they take it more seriously. And also the debt issue is much higher with American universities, so there's that too. Next up, the obsession with being on your own and doing everything for yourself. Okay, I actually kind of get this one. Personally speaking, I have always tried to be a very independent person. I don't live at home with my parents because I'm a grown-up. However, a lot of people in Ireland, because of the economy, stay at home and live with their parents into their 30s and 40s. People say it's because of the high rental prices in Dublin, but them's the prices, so
I don't know what to tell you.
However, in America, it's like taken to an extreme. When you guys head off to university, you leave home. And again, I think this can be explained by the size of America, so people might be going to university out of state. But here in Ireland, I've noticed a lot of my friends go home to their parents every single weekend and stuff like that. Whereas in America, I see it on TV and films that people can go a whole year without seeing their family. And I'm led to understand that that's pretty accurate by the people that I've met. I think it's largely down to the size of America, but let me know your thoughts below. We're having a conversation in the comments. I will be there in the first hour club. Next, not having electric kettles as a basic kitchen appliance that everyone would have. Oh my god, yes. I've mentioned this one before on the channel, and Americans are just like, well, we have microwaves. To me, that's a bit akin to saying, I don't have a toaster because I have a grill. I actually don't have a toaster. But in Europe, everybody has an electric kettle. It's just standard. When I see people put a cup of water in the microwave, it just looks wrong for some reason. Okay, not wrong, but it's just not the norm here. It's not a normal thing to put a cup in the microwave. We have kettles, which boil your water in like a minute to perfect boiling level. I guess it's equivalent to how we have our washing machines in the kitchen. It's just odd to us on the different sides. Well, they're not different sides, are they? They're just different continents. And the next person says, I don't understand high school prom. Yeah. From what I see in movies, couples go somewhere and dance. Where do they dance? At a club or at their school? What do they dance to? What happens if you're single? Is liquor allowed? Do people go to other parties afterwards? Do people get laid? Who hosts the prom? If the school hosts the prom, do they turn a blind eye to these kinds of vices? All of these questions. My biggest weird thing about prom is promposals. What is that?
I'm using it to ask you to go to the prom with me.
Why is it taken so seriously? I have a whole video on this channel about the Irish Debs versus the American prom. I kind of go into it in depth a bit more there, but it does seem very strange to us here that you guys have this big prom and it's such a big deal and so many questions. Next up, somebody says the information bubble. The Yanks don't seem to realize that the rest of the world exists. Ooh, Yanks, controversial term. Let me know what you think of that word in the comments. The Yanks don't seem to realize that the rest of the world exists. Because of this, when they do encounter other nations or cultures, it's with a sense of superiority. Okay, I would argue that the Americans kind of feel the same way about Europeans, that we're a little snobby.
I thought I was rubber and you were glue.
I think that just comes from being in two different places. I also think it's pretty common for European schools to educate children about America and American history and American politics, whereas obviously America doesn't go into detail about other countries as much. I know very few Americans who know exactly what's gone on in Irish history, but at the same time I've met Americans who know way more about Irish history and politics than I do. So I would have to disagree with that one, personally speaking. I think it's very subjective. The next one says weird electric sockets. Also, you don't need that much water in your toilet. That's 2 points there. Okay, in relation to the weird electric sockets, again, you guys probably think ours are weird, but here's why I'll tell you yours are weird. Sometimes when I put the plug into the socket, it doesn't go all the way in. Like, it flops around. It's so strange. It makes me think I've done something wrong or there might be an electric shock. That could be the travel adapters. But it'll fit in one socket and then not really fit in another socket. Also, I just think our 3-prong plugs are more sturdy, whereas you could definitely bash the American ones because they just stick out and they're smaller. And in relation to too much water in your toilet, yeah, there's too much water in your toilet. I don't think most Americans would disagree with that. There is. Sometimes when you're flushing, you get a little... And finally, the cheese is orange. Our cheese is orange. Is there somewhere in Europe their cheese isn't orange? We have orange cheese and we have yellow cheese. I'm going to bring this one back to eggs.
Eggs. Bum, bum.
In America, the standard colour of eggs is white, whereas in Ireland, the standard colour of eggs is orange. Anyway, when me and my friend Paul tried to decorate Easter eggs a couple of years ago, that turned out to be a disaster because you can't paint on orange Easter eggs as well as you can paint on white ones for obvious reasons. And that's it for today's video. Let me know below in comments what weird things are in America that Americans don't find weird that you've noticed. Or indeed in Europe. That could be the basis for another list. That's it. Have a great weekend. Bye. To look at ways in which... Today I'm going to be looking at points that different people had. Today I'm going to be looking at things that... But at the same time... But at the same time, I've met people... We did use it when we got in one day and Mommy had no shampoo. And we used it on your head. In America... Now the dog's drinking.